Hey everyone, Dr. Leigh here from Your Vet Online, and today we have got Ask Us Anything with Dr. Magdalene Oward. Now, Dr. Mags is a veterinarian with a very keen interest in all things animal welfare, and luckily for us, because today we're going to be talking a bit about pet insurance, she actually is the Chief Veterinary Officer for the largest pet insurance company in Australia. So she knows everything there is to know about pet insurance. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, pop them in the link down in the comment section down below, and we'll see if we can answer them during this Facebook Live. Otherwise, we'll try and answer them later in our just either on the Facebook page, or we'll pop a link through to the our website where we'll put this whole post over there. All right, then we'll welcome Dr. Mags.
Thanks, Leigh.
Well, let's get right to it. Now, pet insurance is a really emotive subject for a lot of people because they consider it quite expensive and they worry, is it really worth it? Can you tell us a little bit about it and what exactly is pet insurance?
Well, pet insurance, like any other insurance, is insurance.
Yeah.
And so I guess the most important thing to understand is that when people buy insurance, it's to actually mitigate against unknown risk.
Yeah.
And of course, we know that when we buy a pet, we've got to make sure it's vaccinated, that it's wormed, that it's fed properly, that you do the right things by it, you microchip it, you go to the vet and get it checked out. So we have an understanding of what is required for our pets, but what we don't know is what diseases it's going to get and what accidents or illnesses might come about for that animal during its lifetime. So those are the unknown risks, and that's why we buy pet insurance. We buy it for our car. We don't know if we're going to have an accident. We buy it for our home. We don't know if it's going to burn down, all those sorts of things. But for our pets, I guess it's one of those things that we know it exists, but actually pet insurance is really, really important because it's one way of making sure that your pet is happy and healthy, and it's something that you can do quite easily and make a big difference to the welfare of your pet.
I guess the big thing for many people is that they get their pets when they're really young and they can't foresee what might happen in the future. And I mean, I've had clients who have bought a new puppy, and it's been not even 6 weeks and it's been run over, or it's had really bad gastrointestinal problems and things like that. So as you say, you don't know what's necessarily going to happen, and whether it's going to happen when they're young or whether it's going to wait until they're old. So I guess that brings us to the next question. When is the best time to get pet insurance?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, Leigh, because one of the things that we always say to people about pet insurance is get it when they're young. Literally, when you adopt an animal, when you purchase it from a breeder or a pet shop or whatever other means, a shelter, purchase that animal, get that animal home, go online, purchase pet insurance.
Okay.
And the reason that's so important is because we know that puppies and kittens are prone to getting a lot of things that are unforeseen. Dogs are most likely to get in the garbage. They're likely to eat things, including their own poo. And we know that they're likely to be boisterous and sort of inquisitive. So those sorts of things are more likely to happen to puppies. So the other thing that's really important is that people don't know what underlying diseases an animal has, what we call, hereditary and congenital conditions. And pet insurance, our pet insurance company does pay for those conditions. I guess the important thing is to get insurance early, because what we don't pay for and what no insurance company pays for, pet insurance company pays for, is pre-existing conditions.
So if you were, because everyone's really into buying or the rescue dogs, they are getting these dogs from someone like the RSPCA or another shelter, and they might be a little bit older. Can you get pet insurance for those dogs and cats?
Absolutely, Leigh.
Okay.
Our pet insurance products are there for cats and dogs of any age.
Any age.
When they sign up for pet insurance, all our products are able to sign up animals under the age of 9 when they first get pet insurance. And if they continue with their pet insurance, we will cover them for life. We do have some new policies. So if you happen to go to a rescue or a shelter and adopt a senior animal that's over 9 years old, we do have some new policies that actually cover them, even if it's their first time purchasing pet insurance.
That's really good, because a lot of people really like to give those older pets a chance at life.
Yes.
So now they can be insured.
Yes, those senior pets, they're great companions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they are prone to getting diseases and illnesses, just like any other pet.
Okay. All right. So can you give us a little bit of a rundown on all the different sort of types of insurance? Like, I mean, I guess I'm familiar with things like there's accident only, or we might have accident and illness, but there's a few words sometimes you see in these brochures and you're just like, what does it mean?
It's not that hard actually to talk about the types of products that we have, because there's a couple of things that, or a few things that you should know about pet insurance before you purchase it. Is that, number one, make sure that the pet insurance that you get, covers chronic diseases, because a lot of animals suffer from chronic diseases, and covers them for life, and all our products do that. And also covers for congenital hereditary conditions, and all our products cover for that.
I see.
And I see
we have a comment here from Sarah, and she's talking about hip dysplasia there. So with that hip dysplasia, is that something that's like a congenital, known as a congenital condition?
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to conditions that are what we call hereditary conditions, a lot of these conditions don't show up until the animal's a little bit older. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to get pet insurance as soon as you can. We cover cats and kittens and puppies from the age of 8 weeks old.
Wow.
So, a lot of these conditions, say for example, elbow dysplasia or things like that, they're actually, as you know, as a vet, you don't see them that young. They might come about when the animal is 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah.
So, that's right. And that's why it's really important to purchase pet insurance when they're young. Yeah. Going back to the information about the products. Yes, so make sure they cover for chronic disease, and they're lifelong covers, which is what
are all of them lifelong? Or because I know sometimes when you read some of these things, some companies are not lifelong.
Okay, so just to be very, very clear, our accident and illness policy, which covers animals for accidents and illnesses, those particular policies are all lifelong.
Okay.
So what that means is, say your dog was covered, dog had diabetes and it was eligible for cover for diabetes, then every year that you continue your cover, it would be covered for diabetes.
Okay.
And so all our accident illness products are like that.
Okay.
Accident only is a cheap product, and it covers for very specific conditions. There are about 9 or 10 conditions that it covers for, things like snake bites and burns and things like that. And that cover is obviously a cheaper cover. It doesn't cover your illnesses. But at the same time, some people just want to be covered for certain conditions. But the main cover that we have is accident illness, and most of our clients purchase that. And again, they're all lifelong covered.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a lifelong cover is really, that is so good, because if you, and this, I mean, I guess this brings us to another point. If you suddenly decide that you're going to stop cover for a year because maybe you've had some financial stress, or you think it's not worth it, that cover goes back. You don't have that cover again if you continue, do you? So pretty much you can't swap policies or companies, and you must continually keep that cover, mustn't you?
Yeah, so I guess that the thing is that once a condition has been has come about, if you stop your cover and then you say get it later on, then that condition then is deemed to be pre-existing. Okay. And that's how pet insurance works. I guess pet insurance acts and seems like health insurance, but by law it's actually classified under general insurance like car and home. So as you know, you can't insure your car after you've had an accident and expect it to be fixed. And that's the same with pet insurance. So if there is a pre-existing condition, then that condition won't be covered. But it doesn't mean that any other condition won't be covered afterwards. Exactly. So I guess that's where most people think, oh, well, you know, it's got diabetes, hence I won't get pet insurance. But what if your dog then got a cruciate rupture or, you know, had cancer? I mean, those things will still be covered. Yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, you know, most people in Australia are pretty good at continuing their cover for their home and their car. Yeah. I guess we kind of forget our pets because we have this great Medicare system in Australia that really removes any kind of understanding about the true costs of medical care. And veterinary care isn't cheap. I mean, vets have access to CTs, MRIs, they're highly trained professionals. It costs a lot to keep a veterinary practice open, and people don't understand what it costs for their own medical treatment. So they're completely aghast when they hear veterinary fees are a certain amount of money, but you know, that's where pet insurance is so invaluable.
Exactly. And so can you explain to us maybe how a premium is actually formulated and why you have to pay the amount that you have to pay?
Okay, so pet insurance, like any other insurance, is you can pay by the month or by the year. And the way premiums are calculated in pet insurance is based on breed and age and where you live.
Okay.
So I guess the most important thing is to understand that, you know, certain breeds, as you know, Leigh, are more prone to develop certain conditions, and therefore their premiums might be higher than another breed that is, you know, for example, you know, a crossbred dog, you know, crossbreeds generally don't suffer from some of the conditions that we know purebreds suffer from. And, you know, we've got years of data to help us with our pricing. I guess the important thing to know is that we don't actually, you know, have breeds subsidise other breeds. So, for example, if you've got a high-risk breed that we know is going to be expensive, we don't actually make other breeds pay more for their cover. It's very, very fair for the clients.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And I know, Dr. Mags, you had a situation yourself where you actually needed to have a lot of veterinary care for your dog.
Yeah.
And insurance came in really handy for that, didn't it?
Because and when I talk about insurance and I talk about unforeseen risk, mine was very unforeseen. In fact, I had because I work for PetSure, we're very lucky in that, you know, part of working here means that we get to experience pet insurance. So I have 3 dogs.
Yep.
And my 9-year-old dog actually this year almost collapsed at home, and we rushed it off to the emergency hospital, and he in fact had a grass seed in his lung. And that grass seed had migrated and caused a massive infection in his chest. He had to have major surgery with a specialist.
Yeah.
He had to have a CT scan.
I was going to say, did he have a CT scan?
He had a CT scan. He had a surgery with this wonderful specialist.
And he would have been on a ventilator, probably, would he?
No, he was actually very lucky in that he recovered quite well.
Oh,
He was in hospital for a week in intensive care, which all adds up.
Yeah.
And you know what, Leigh? Within 2 months, I thought everything was going great. But then he ruptured a disc in his neck. And
so there we go, risk. You never know what's going to happen.
As a veterinarian with over 20 years experience, even I was shocked that this would happen. That my dog would have 2 major procedures, all needing specialist veterinary care within 2 months.
So when you look at something like that, how does it work with your policy though? Because you might have the one condition, it might cost say $6,000, and then are there limits? So did you run into troubles with limits with this one?
Well, Leigh, as you know, there are limits to any policy, and just with any policy there are going to be general exclusions. You cannot cover everything. All the conditions my dog had were absolutely covered by pet insurance.
Wow.
The only limitation was my yearly annual limit, and yes, that was maxed out. But it took a major chunk out of what I had to pay.
Absolutely.
And, you know, everybody would do everything for their pets.
Yeah.
You know, especially a pet that's been with us since I got married and had my kids. So my kids were absolutely love this dog.
Yeah.
So Rex is doing really well now, and
awesome.
Thanks to pet insurance. And I guess at the end of the day, even vets, you know, find themselves in situations. I mean, I'm a vet, but I certainly am not a specialist, and my dog needed specialist care.
And you can't afford to actually, well, when I say can't afford, your own skills can't necessarily be utilised for treating those problems because you needed a specialist.
Both conditions needed a CT scan, and both conditions needed specialists to do the surgery. So I'm very grateful I had pet insurance. And when I tell my story, I tell it from, you know, somebody who worked in practice for 20 years and saw a lot of people that couldn't even afford to have their pets vaccinated.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that we know about pets is that they bring us so much joy and they're good for us.
Yeah, they certainly are.
The people that benefit the most from pet insurance are probably those people also that really do need, the people that benefit most from pet ownership are people that do need pet insurance. And so, you know, some of our, you know, we've designed some new products that actually are a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And, you know, their limits are a little bit different, but at the same time, it helps to take the brunt out of some of the, some of the angst out of, you know.
So I guess the key things for people to do when they're looking at trying to find a policy that fits them is to consider the breed of dog they're going to purchase, consider how old the dog is, look where they are, like, I mean, that's a constant, like you're not going to be moving around much, and then what other things, I mean, I guess we talked quickly about accident versus accident illness, and I mean, I guess the thing is accident illness, we all know that there's more illness than accident, so yeah, I'd have to say it's probably 70% more illness than accident.
Yeah, so, and Leigh, you're right, and that's reflected in the fact that most of our policies that we sell are accident and illness. We can't foresee what's going to happen to our animals, and most people just want peace of mind, and that's what pet insurance is. It's actually just peace of mind. It's, you know, you hope you never have to use it. I hoped I'd never have to use my pet insurance, but it's there when you need it. And so it just takes a lot of the angst away, and then you can concentrate on looking after your pet rather than worrying about the veterinary fees.
Exactly. All right then, guys. Well, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, we pop them in the comment section below, because we'll do that later, and I'll pop this up on the website as well, so check out yourvetonline.com, and I hope that is beneficial for some of you. All right, catch you guys later, and thank you so much, Meg, for joining us.
That's all right, Leigh, anytime.
All right, see you guys.